dropped a ticket for $300 to get in.
Final four time.
Yeah, kiss that crown.
Who's gonna take the crown?
Is the trophy just a lawn dart?
Welcome back to the Global Cities Tournament 2024. I am your host, GeoBrax. Welcome to the grand finale, episode number 20. Thank you so much for having tuned in this whole time. And now here's the payoff. We have the final four. First off, we're going to have the two semifinals, and then after that, the grand finale. We're going to crown a champion of the Global Cities Tournament 2024. The best city in the world. And for the final time, to the previews.
Our first semifinalist is the number 1 overall seed, New York City from the United States. New York City is one of only 5 cities in the history of the Global Cities Tournament to have recorded at least 8 career wins, joining London on 8 right now, and trailing only Dubai and Beijing with 9, and Seoul with 10 career wins. New York City has also defeated a city from every single continent except for an Oceanian city, and that's probably because they've never faced a city from Oceania. New York City was able to add South America to its tally 2 rounds ago with the sweep over Sao Paulo, and North America to its tally in the quarterfinals with its 7th category victory over Toronto. A special shout out is owed to the New York City nickname of the Big Apple, and even Gotham for getting it through the Toronto matchup. As its reward, New York City will be facing off against the number 13 overall seed, Chicago, from the state of Illinois, from the same country, the United States of America. This is now only the second time outside of the qualifying round that 2 cities from the same country will be facing off. The only previous instance of this was the round of 16 in GC 2020, where Beijing defeated Chengdu 4 categories to 0. Speaking of Beijing, they were 1 category away from making it to consecutive semifinals. However, the city of Chicago defeated Beijing in the quarterfinals on the back of having a better stadium. Thank you, Wrigley Field, home of the Cubs and home of the Global Cities Tournament 2024 semifinalist, Chicago. To get here, Chicago had to defeat 3 Asian cities, 1 South American city, and 1 European city. We now move on to semifinal number 2. This one is going to determine the European champion. The number 27 overall seed, Amsterdam, the sole representative of the Netherlands, has won quadrant number 2. In the past 2 rounds, Amsterdam has taken down unseeded cities Barcelona and Montreal. And for the first time, Montreal did not get all the way down to the final category. Amsterdam defeated them 4 categories to 2. The 2 most recent wins against European and North American challengers are now tacked on to the opening 3 victories against Asian challengers. Can Amsterdam defeat 1 more European city to make it in to the grand final? Well, the city that is standing in Amsterdam's way is the number 64 ranked complete surprise package of these semifinals, Stockholm, the capital and sole representative from Sweden. In a completely different set of circumstances than we would have seen in GC 2020, Stockholm has made it to the semifinals without even facing a single Asian city. In fact, Stockholm has a win over an Oceanian city. That's probably going to make New York City quite jealous. To go along with 3 victories against North American cities, plus an absolute clutch defeat of Paris in the round of 16. Against Paris, Stockholm advanced thanks to having the better arena, the Avicii Arena. And then in the quarterfinals, Stockholm went down 0-2, went up 3-2, found itself in the 7th category against Seattle, and advanced on the basis of having better nature thanks to the island of Djurgården. Will it ever strike midnight for this Cinderella, or will Stockholm become the unlikeliest champion imaginable?
New York City versus Chicago. Seven, 15. 10. 2. Extra. 1. In the first semifinal, we have the U.S. National Championship match between the winners of quadrant number 1 and quadrant number 4. That's going to be the number 1 overall seed, New York City from New York State, taking on the number 13 seed, Chicago from the state of Illinois. And the first category of this semifinal matchup is which city has the largest company headquartered in it? Well, for Chicago, that is Archer Daniels Midland with revenues of $85.2 billion per year, 124th on the Global 500. And in New York City, it is Verizon Communications, 54th on the Global 500 at $133.6 billion in revenue, a 1-0 lead to Gotham. Second category is which city's airport is closest to its downtown? We're going to use the airports with the most passengers per year. So for Chicago, that's going to be O'Hare, O-R-D, 29.0 kilometers away from downtown Chicago. And in New York City, John F. Kennedy Airport, JFK, is 25.4 kilometers away from Lower Manhattan, which means New York City's up 2-0 in this best-of-7 matchup. Category, the third, is which city has the highest population density? Well, in Chicago, it's 4,656 people per square kilometer. New York City, 11,314, up 3-0 on the verge of a sweep. Can Chicago pull off the miracle comeback? The fourth category is public transit rating from the Oliver Wyman Forum, and this one is very close. We have a 17th out of 65 on the list. We have a 15th out of 65 on the list. And Chicago was 15th on the list. We're going to go to a fifth category. And my friend Not Ricked says it's going to be total Michelin stars. Both cities have multiple 3-star restaurants. New York City, it's 4. In Chicago, it's 2. But the total number of Michelin stars is not close at all. 28 in Chicago, 87 for your first finalist, and the champions of the United States, the number 1 overall seed, New York City. You're in the final. Amsterdam versus Stockholm. $17. $4. $5. $16. $2. $13. $3. Extra. 6. In semifinal number 2, we have the European Championships between the winners of Quadrant 2 and Quadrant 3. Out of Quadrant 2, we have the number 27 overall seed Amsterdam from the Netherlands, taking on a fellow European capital city, the unseeded 64th ranked Stockholm from Sweden, to determine which city will face New York City in the final. And Not Richt has so kindly provided us with the first category of quality of living ranking. And both cities score very well here. 26th in the world versus 14th in the world, but Amsterdam has a 1-0 lead. So we go to the second category, which is rent cost versus purchasing power. The rent cost in Stockholm is 34.4% lower, and the purchasing power is 5.3% higher? That doesn't usually go together. Well, we're tied at 1. So the third category is going to be which airport is closest to the city center. Arlanda ARN Airport in Stockholm, 43.9 kilometers away. And Amsterdam Schiphol, 20.0 km away. Amsterdam up 2-1. The fourth category is going to be the public transit rating on the Oliver Wyman Forum, again, out of 65. Both of these cities would have defeated either Chicago or New York in this category, but one of them has to lose here. 11th in the world, Amsterdam. 5th in the world, Stockholm is tied it at 2 apiece. To the 5th category we go. Most species of birds. 291 in Stockholm. And in Amsterdam, 345, a 3-2 lead on the verge of the final. And yet again, we have total Michelin stars. And only one of these two cities has a 3-star restaurant, and that's going to be Stockholm. But unfortunately for Stockholm, the category isn't most 3-star restaurants. It's total Michelin stars. Stockholm at 16, Amsterdam at 39, and by a score of 4 categories to 2, Amsterdam off to the grand final. It's down to this. After 8 rounds of action, 132 previous individual matchups, we have reached the grand final of the Global Cities Tournament 2024. And our 2 survivors have a pretty intertwined history. In fact, we have Old Amsterdam taking on New Amsterdam. That's right, the number 1 overall seed, New York City from the United States, was formerly known as New Amsterdam, whereas the number 27 seed, Amsterdam, is still known as Amsterdam. And they're representing the Netherlands here in the grand final. New York City versus Amsterdam. $15. $3. $14. $9. Green enabled. $1. $8. 11. The excitement is palpable through the screen. I can feel you all excited. Let's get it started. The first category of the grand final is going to be carbon emissions per capita. That appears to be good news for Old Amsterdam. 17.1 tons of carbon dioxide released per person in New York City every year, which is third in total emissions in the entire world. Amsterdam, 204th in total emissions, 10.5 tons of CO2 released, a 1-0 lead to Old Amsterdam. The second category is related to the first one, pollution index. Amsterdam, 24.0. That is incredibly low. New York City, more normal, 58.3. 2-0 lead to Old Amsterdam. The third category is the Happy City Index. Amsterdam is ranked 5th out of 250. New York City, somehow not ranked. Alright, we're going to go to the World Happiness Report. New York City, 30th out of 186. Amsterdam, somehow not ranked. I'll have to get into this. Splicing some numbers, there were 10 cities from the United States on the Happy City Index. The highest ranked one was 18th. They went all the way down to 237th. And importantly, Rochester from the same state as New York City got 214th position. The only other city from the Netherlands was Rotterdam. It got 7th place. So we're going to give the edge to Amsterdam, which means they're up 3-0, one category away from the title. Can New Amsterdam pull off a miracle comeback? The fourth category is the highest ranked university on the U.S. News Report. We have the University of Amsterdam in 39th place. It's not enough to close the title because Columbia University is 7th on that list, 3 categories to 1. We go to the 5th category. Which city's average high monthly temperature is closest to the target score of 23 degrees Celsius? New York City, not all that warm, 16.75. But it's warm enough to defeat Amsterdam, 13.67 degrees. It is now 3 categories to 2. Is New York City really going to come back from 3-0? Well, that all depends on the 6th category, which is the combined heights of the 3 tallest buildings. What a time for this category to save New York City. It's One World Trade Center, Central Park Tower, 111 West 57th Street, a combined height of 1,448 meters. That's more than a kilometer, more than what Amsterdam is putting up. The Rembrandt Tower, Mondrian-Toren, and the Amsterdam Symphony Building, A or B, they're the same height. 380 meters! It was 3-0. Now it's 3-3! We're going 7 in the final! Can New Amsterdam come back from 3-0? Not Ricked. What subjectivity have you bestowed upon us here today? Best nature. And amazingly enough, in this best nature category, we have many comparable sites. We can start off with Prospect Park in Brooklyn being comparable to Vester Park. We have Governor's Island being somewhat comparable to Het Twiske. And we also have beaches in both cities. We have Coney Island Beach in Brooklyn against Sloterplatz in Amsterdam. And north of Manhattan, we have Fort Tryon Park. And then south of Amsterdam, we have the Amsterdam Green area. It's all quite even. So we're going to have to go to the main feature of both. The main park of each city is going to decide it. We have Vondelpark in Amsterdam taking on Central Park, the jewel of New York City, and that's where it's not even close. Central Park is an absolute specimen of beauty and urban landscape design. Vondelpark has no right to even be in the same conversation, which means they've come back from 03. New York City, New Amsterdam defeats Old Amsterdam and is now the second ever Global Cities Tournament champion. Congratulations to our number one overall seed, New York City. There you have it, fans. The Global Cities Tournament 2024 has been won by Gotham, by the Big Apple, the number one overall seed, New York City. They fell to the champions in GC 2020 in a round of 16, but this time around, everyone else has fallen before them. New York City has done the dang thing. So congratulations to all of you out there in New York. Congratulations to all of you who have subscribed to this channel. Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure to host GCT24. I am GeoBrax. Shout out to my dear friend Not Rick for running the draws. And if you want to check that Not Rick gave you the proper information, that every category was decided fairly, or if you just want to yell at me for getting the subjective categories incorrect in your opinion, join us at the Discord linked below. If you want to see the bracket in all of its majesty now that it is finalized with New York at the end, shaloms.com/GCT24. Thank you guys so much. It's been the honor of a lifetime to hold this trophy here, representing New York City, the number one overall seed, and the only city left standing in the Global Cities Tournament 2024.